and welcome. You're listening to the Get Into Your Skin podcast, where we talk anything and everything skincare and mental health. Each week, we will explore inner and outer beauty at the intersection of a medically informed point of view and the curiosity of a skincare amateur. Speaking of which, I am one of your hosts, Isabel Iturios, the representative of the lay audience for this hour. And I'm excited to introduce my co-host, Dr. Kumar Nadan, a dermatology resident in Chicago. Hi,
Hello.
Kumar. So today we're gonna shoot for a shorter episode than usual. And we're talking about exfoliation. Exfoliating. Is exfoliation a noun?
I think so.
Which, as far as I know, it's typically the second step in most skincare routines, as per like Instagram and TikTok. It's usually cleansers and exfoliating. So what is exfoliation?
What is exfoliation? It's a good question because I think it is a big movement right now. Exfoliators got so popular last year, and I think periodically it becomes popular. But the goal of exfoliation, and I hope this is the goal for most people, is to remove the dead skin cells from most often your face. And your dead skin cells, they're natural. It builds up on our skin every 24 to 32 days as our skin turns over. And naturally, that skin will fall off. But every once in a while, it accumulates because it's too sticky to each other or it's too sticky outside. And you accumulate more in certain parts of your face or all of your face.
And is that something that one would be able to see or not really?
Yeah, that's a good question. So most often you will see it yourself or you'll feel it. And I think that's why people exfoliate. To the outside world, it can look as like scaling, like white patches of extra skin that is flaking off, kind of like dandruff. Or it could look, you could describe it as grimy. Some people describe that area as thick. And those are all manifestations of dead skin cell buildup. And clogging of the pores can happen theoretically, and I think that's what a lot of people advocate for, to exfoliate a lot, is to get rid of any skin cells that can clog the pores. But that's more theoretical. More so, it's the feeling that you get when that skin cell buildup takes over and you feel like you need to peel off a layer.
That's making me think of two things. One is like, it seems like the body should just have a natural way of like getting rid of skin cells. Like it seems like, I mean, I'm the first one to want to add things to my skincare routine. Like if I can add it, I'll do it. But it's kind of like making me think like, well, don't they just fall off? And then the second thing, I feel like I have a lot of calluses on my hands. I pulled in, so like I feel like you're describing like the buildup of dead cells. That's how it would feel, but we never really feel that in any parts of our bodies except ones that go through, like if you're lift weights or if you walk around a lot or something like that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So the body does have a way to get rid of them. So as the skin top layer has multiple layers of cells. And in the base layers and in the middle layers, the skin cells are very sticky to each other. And as the cells get older and they start growing towards the surface, they start pulling apart and they're less and less sticky to each other. And then they become dead. They lose their nuclei, their centers, and they become dead cells and they fall off. And they will do that naturally without our assistance. People survived long before us without exfoliators, without any of the fancy things that you see on TikTok or Instagram. And they did just fine. And very, very beautiful celebrities had incredible routines back in the 90s, 2000s without exfoliators, right? Without any of the things that we use now and we think are necessities. But at the same time, you can help the process. And you can do that through different types of exfoliators, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But you don't need to overdo it, right? So you need to find the sweet spot where you exfoliate enough that you feel comfortable, that you think your skin looks best, your skin feels healthiest, but you don't overdo it because it can be obsessive compulsive for some people. As for the calluses on your hands, now your hand skin is very different than your facial skin. Deep down, it's pretty much the same, but on the surface layer, there are a lot more layers of skin and protection on the hands. And so that can form calluses to protect you. That is a response to repeated friction and the need to grip things over and over again, right? Whereas your face, it's not so much a response, it's more an intrinsic process where now that is increasing in rate or quantity of dead cells because of medication that you're using, a routine that you're using, or you're exercising more, or you're going out and it's very humid out and it's more sticky and things stick to your
Mhm.
face more.
And this is also reminding me, I don't know if you know anything about this, but when we were talking about cleansers, that one article I read about like us having little mites on our face that like eat the dead skin. Do you
Yeah,
know anything about that?
yeah, it's a thing of nightmares, but I don't worry too much about it because there's nothing we can do.
No, it sounded like they were good, like they were removing the
Yes,
dead skin by eating it.
yeah.
And I subscribe to this like it's like a subscription service that sends you skincare stuff every month, and they gave me a moisturizer with probiotics.
Probiotics are a big rage right now. I think
But I was
I
like, what?
personally,
Why is it on my
yeah,
face?
I know. You know, they're not wrong. I personally love the whole gut skin connection. And I think that there's incredible workings in the microbiome, not only the gut microbiome, but the skin microbiome, including those
Uh,
mites that are
uh,
eating all the dead skin cells. There's only so much we can control that. A lot of it is based on how we eat, how much we exercise, how we are doing overall in our health, and how we can maintain that microbiome. But trying to micromanage it, I think, is a fool's errand. Trying to feed it with probiotics, maybe. But I think they've
I don't like the
barely been
idea
able to
that
do
I'm
that.
feeding them.
I know. But there's some good furry critters and there's some bad ones, and you want to feed the good ones. But they've barely been able to show repeated efficacy with feeding the gut microbiome with probiotics. And so on the face, I think it is a nice thought, but I don't know if we're advanced enough to actually do that properly.
Okay, I have something in my eye. This is why I'm struggling for the
Yeah,
one
it's probably
person watching
mites.
on YouTube. Okay. So one of the questions that I had written down is exfoliation something you would consider necessary, a nice bonus to do, or a result of bogus advertisement slash the need to sell?
Ooh, I
Or
think
a
all
fourth
three.
option. Oh, okay.
All three. I think exfoliators, like we talked about, you got to find the sweet spot. So you want to take off the dead skin cells, but you don't want to cause any damage deeper down. And I think that is the balance that you have to play. Some of my patients who are obsessed with exfoliating because they think that they're dirty or they think that they have a lot of accumulation because of excessive working out or a new skincare regimen they're trying. And so they try to scrub everything off. They end up damaging their skin, especially deeper down, and causing more acne in the process and causing more irritation, especially inflammation. And it's a vicious cycle. The other end of that, you can exfoliate regularly if you are turning over skin at an increased rate. Let's say you have a new regimen that is helping your skin turnover, like a retinoid regimen,
Mm,
then it would be nice to exfoliate more often. Now, that exfoliation should be gentle. It should be a nice combination, chemical, physical, in order to achieve your goal of a mm, dead skin free surface, but it should not be in order to clean the skin. And I think that's the misconception is
mhm.
exfoliators, you're not cleaning your skin, you're not scrubbing your skin clean. And that goal is going to get you into trouble because you could really hurt yourself.
Okay, you said physical exfoliators and chemical exfoliators, and you also use the word gentle. And I
Mhm.
know on like Twitter and Instagram, it's a fun thing. Everyone makes fun of this apricot scrub, St.
Yeah.
Ives. I think because it was like the company got sued because it was creating tear in people. So the physical exfoliator, and you can explain better, has little beads most of the times. It's more of a scrub, and I guess that one was made of really harsh beads.
Yeah.
So what is a physical exfoliator and exfoliant exfoliator exfoliator And how do you know if it's gentle enough?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Now, physical exfoliators, there's no exact parameters to measure the gentle feel or the size of the beads or the exfoliator themselves. You can measure the size, but so much the other qualities of the exfoliator is really tough to measure. So when you use exfoliator, you want it to be gentle enough where you are not digging into your skin, but you want it to be effective enough that you are accomplishing your goal of removing the dead skin cells. So how do you find that balance? And I have personally used St. Ives apricot scrub when I was younger. I think
Yeah,
everybody
same.
has. They're
Yeah.
super popular, and it was a fun packaging, and it was really effective. It felt effective. Let me rephrase. It felt very effective because it really felt like you were getting rid of a lot of old and a lot of bad. But in reality, yes, it was tearing the skin deep down. It was causing more inflammation. And I think they paved the way for exfoliators, and they also showed what should not be done. And I think people who have followed them, they've gotten rid of the microbeads, which have contributed to pollution. I think some states have even banned it. They have changed the formulation so it is more gentle, and they've used more natural products like minerals and an exfoliator. If you imagine, it would be like a rock, like tiny little pebbles.
Mhm.
And these are these beads, and you rub them over your skin, and that is enough to slough away dead skin cells. And actually, when we have patients who have a lot of dead skin cells that build up on their feet for whatever reason,
Mm.
because of eczema, because of fungus, we have them use pumill stones. We have them take those stones and scrape their skin. And on the feet, you have a lot more layers of skin cells that protect you, like the calluses that form. You have a lot more of that that protects you from abrasion. But on the face, you're quite sensitive to anything physical. So any physical exfoliant is something that is mechanically or with abrasion removing dead skin.
No, but when you said like it feels effective, that's such a key word. Like I feel like the more not hurts, but the more I feel it like rub into, the more I feel like, okay, this is working.
Hmm.
But it's so easy to go too far
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, absolutely. People chase that feel. And effectively,
It's
you're
like the
scratching your
foaming.
skin. It's like the foaming,
Yeah.
right? It feels good. And that's where the marketing comes in because the feel is really deceptive, I think, in skincare. It is very easy to market people by feel. And it's also very sneaky to do so because when it feels like you're removing a lot of dead skin cells, oftentimes you're scratching the skin. And
Hmm.
scratching feels good, right? When we're very itchy, scratching is a pleasurable sensation. And so just because it feels good doesn't mean that it is good. And you're actually causing damage.
Okay. So what about the chemical exfoliants? And I know I've said before, I just know there's like BHA, AHA, something, something. Like, can you break
Yeah.
those down?
Yeah, I'll try. So I'll stick with the popular ones.
Yes.
So there's AHAs and BHAs. And AHAs, the most popular, are glycolic and lactic acid. And I personally love glycolic acid. And I think it should be used more often. And what these alpha hydroxy acids do, they break apart the connections between the skin cells. So as our skin gets older and grows higher in the epidermal layer, the skin starts coming apart as it should, and then it falls off because the skin cells are not connected to each other, right? They're holding hands very deep down. Then as they grow older, they're more individualistic and they fall off. And the AHAs help that process. And so when you have very sticky dead skin cells, your AHAs are going to help dissolve those connections on the surface. Your BHAs, like salicylic acid, is going to go a little deeper. It is more oil based, AHAs are more water based, and the oil base will track deeper, especially in the hair follicles, and it will help break it up on a deeper level. And it's used more often for acne, whereas
Mm.
AHAs are used more often for skin cell turnover and overall gentle exfoliation.
And which one do you recommend for what type of patient?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think every patient should have a glycolic acid face wash if they can tolerate it. I think that is an easy way to start. Glycolic acid is one of the smallest molecules for the AHA category, and so it's quite effective, and it's actually used in conjunction with other medications in order for the other medications to penetrate deeper. So it is an overall, let's say, good primer for medications because it makes your skin ready for anything else that you put on it. So AHA's glycolic acid, that is awesome. If you can get a gentle face wash with that in it, you can use that morning and night, and that is an easy way to do some consistent, gentle chemical exfoliation. I think the salicylic acid, especially the Neutrogena bright orange one that everybody has in their shower in college, I think that is a very effective wash. I
I've
like.
never seen it.
You've never seen it? I
No.
think maybe when I went to college, it was very
Yeah.
popular, and I still have it. And I like to use that when you have any back acne, arm acne, keratosis pilaris, any type of acne on the face. When you feel very sticky and you have high levels of skin turnover, especially in humid summers, I like to use that. Anytime where you want some more drying and you can
Okay.
tolerate some more drying. That's when you want to use your salicylic acid, your BHAs, because it's going to be quite drying and also quite abrasive if you don't have a moist background intact. So I think if you're quite dry already, I would stay away from the BHAs, stick to the AHAs. And then my favorite, which I cannot talk about enough, would be retinoids. And those are the
Hmm.
third category. So we've talked
Oh,
about it before, but vitamin A, it does incredible things for every layer and aspect of the skin. But exfoliation, it also works. And it is a great natural exfoliator because it increases the turnover, it increases the normalcy of the skin. So, like you said, our body has a natural mechanism to get rid of all the skin. The retinoids reinforce that. And so, before you do the AHAs, BHAs, these retinoids, get them into your skin, get them working. It is the best vitamin that you can give your skin. It'll do all the work. If you need a little extra boost, you add on the AHAs. If you need a big extra boost, you add on the BHAs.
and when you said using the AHA in your cleanser, it's not too much to do it every day. We're talking about like over exfoliating, right?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it is not too much to do it every day. Do you need to do it every day? Absolutely not. You need to find the right balance for you. I think it is very easy to over exfoliate with physical exfoliators.
Hmm.
Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I personally believe that you do not need a physical exfoliator in your routine ever. I don't think it should be used. I think it's very easy to scratch the skin, increase inflammation, maybe stimulate a little collagen, some people believe, but I don't think it's worth it. I think you can get away with using the retinoids, using these glycolic acids, and then you can add on face masks. I think face masks, we forget how awesome they are. If you put on one of these, not the moist face masks, but the scrubs, you put that on, you let it dry, and then you peel it off. That is pulling off dead skin cells. That is why you look so fresh, is because it is doing the same job as the exfoliators you want to use physically. The difference is the physical exfoliators, you can only scrub dirt so much, right?
Hmm.
If you think of a dirty floor, you're not going to scrub into it forever. You need to just pull it off, right? You need to take a paper towel and wipe it off, right? And so, same thing. If you have dirt, let's say, or dead skin cells on your face, you're not going to keep scrubbing into it. At some point, you just want to peel it off and wash it away. And so, these double cleansing systems, the face masks, and the chemical exfoliators is plenty.
Yeah, I have it right now. Um, the physical exfoliator because I was like looking through mine and um it sounds like the language is so extra. It says brightens and breaks down dead skin with papaya enzyme, da da da, and then it's just talking about how it like brightens your face, and I just feel like it's not based on anything really.
No, no, and it will brighten your face. It will brighten your face. It actually might even give you a little rosiness to your cheeks, but that's
Because you
because
just rubbed it.
yeah, you just
Yeah.
rubbed it. Exactly. You're causing some inflammation. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I think they're overused, and I have some good friends and I have some good patients who have really hurt themselves, and they've given themselves acne scars. That's permanent damage because of the
Damn.
physical exfoliation, and it's really painful to watch because that can be avoided by the exact opposite. I think face masks, they're cheap, they're easy to use. You don't need an expensive one. You can get some easy scrubs, and they feel so good, right? They're so nurturing, I think, not just for our skin, but
But
also
there's
for
still
our health.
scrubs.
I think when I use the word scrub, it's a little confusing. I'd rather not patients scrub into their face, but the scrub as in the mineral textured one rather than the
Okay.
paper liquid
To
mask.
just put it on
Yeah, just to put it
without.
on and then to peel it off. Exactly. Put it on. You can move it around a little bit, but I would just put it on and then peel it off and then use a face wash. And it's usually miraculous how much it does. It's not active. I think people want to actively take control of their condition and they want to scrub things away because they can, right? When you're upset and you want to go get a soul cycle workout in and you want to actively do stuff. The skin, yes, you should be working it out through retinoids and other active ingredients. But with the scrubs and with the masks and the exfoliation, that should be much more gentle. It should be a more passive process. And I think if we use the mask more, we sit out, we meditate for 10 minutes, or we do yoga, relax, and then pull that off, you'll be amazed how nice it feels.
And you mentioned, like the different AHA, BHA. Well, um, tell me if this is for a different episode, but how do you feel about skin types? There's the oily, dry skin, and the combination. Seems like when you were saying it sounded like okay, AHA is for dry, BHA is for or oily combinations. Figure it out. Do you
Yeah.
believe in those categories? Like, are they helpful?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think those are two questions. I think I do believe that that spectrum exists. I think it's very clear that some people produce more sebum than other people. Some people are more combination or oily skin than other people are more dry. But using them as categories leads us to trouble because it groups us down into very basic categories. And there have been studies that are quite mixed on the idea of whether the amount of sebum makes a difference in whether or not you get acne. Some have shown that there is no difference in the amount of sebum between somebody with acne and somebody without. Others have shown that there is. And what they all agree on is that the quality of the sebum makes a difference. And so when we get down to the categories, it's based on the amount of sweat you have. So what? Maybe it's good sweat. If you look at a athlete in the middle of a workout, they're sweating a bunch, but it's not the same as the sebum that's coming out that's causing the acne. And so I think that is much oversimplified and it's another good marketing tool. And I would like to avoid them.
Okay. So we might have touched on this a little bit, but how do you know if someone is over or under exfoliating?
Over under exfoliating, that's a really good question. So we're going back to feel. I think the over exfoliation is very clear. It can be as bad as linear marks on the face because you are scratching those areas.
Oh,
You can have the skin can look dry, it can look irritated, it can be inflamed. Those are all signs of overexfoliation. Under exfoliation is usually a good problem to have. It's very hard to diagnose or to figure out, but it's more a feel. If you feel like you have very sticky skin and you're wiping your finger across your skin and some darker skin comes off, then you know that you can exfoliate. I don't
hmm.
think that you have to be concerned about and exfoliate at that minute, but you have room to go.
Okay. I just wanted to go over a little bit over my exfoliant routine and then
Yeah.
talk about dermaplaning. Do we have time, do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is so OCD. No, sorry, I don't mean to say OCD. It's just very, OCD is a real diagnosis. So on Mondays, I use this like peel, like a chemical peel, which is
Yeah.
like chemical exfoliant. On
With what
Wednesday,
inside of it?
see, I was looking at it in preparation and I couldn't really figure. figure it out. I have the ingredients, but it's not like it doesn't say like this. The one I use on Wednesday is BHA. So
Cool.
that makes sense. This one, glycerin. You mentioned that one, right?
Glycerin, glycolic acid. Glycerin
Oh, no.
is a very common ingredient in most all products. It's
Yeah,
like
I don't
a
think it has
vehicle.
anything. It's deionized water, glycerin, butylene glycol. Yeah, everything gets. I don't know what's in this, but maybe I'll just toss it. Um, and then yeah, so Wednesday I use the BHA,
Mhm.
and then okay, on Saturdays I use a physical exfoliant, which says that it has no plastic beads. It has natural microcrystals. I don't know if that's any better. But I do that because I also do what is called dermaplaning, which is basically shaving your face. And it's become really popular. Um, this is what Healthline says about dermaplaning. Dermaplaning is a cosmetic procedure that removes the top layers of your skin. The procedure aims to remove fine wrinkles and deep acne scarring, as well as make the skin surface look smooth. And it you can get this procedure done for like $150 minimum, around that. So I just want to I do it. I literally buy like really small razors from Amazon, like probably $10 for 50 of them, and then literally shave my face. Uh like all of it. And I think it helps to just make my skin quote unquote brighter, because I think you're just removing like the little peach fuzz. And probably some of the dead skin. I tried one time, I think I went like too hard and it left like red, and I had to really moisturize that. But I think it's just removing peach fuzz and kind of like a very extreme version of the physical exfoliant. But what do
Yeah.
you think about this cosmetic procedure that is done by quote unquote professionals? Obviously, you can see how I feel about it. It just feels like it's promising a lot. What do you think it's possible to do all of this with a blade?
It's a really cool concept, I'll tell you that. And it's awesome that you could do it at home. I think you're quite bold in taking a blade to your face. And I'm sure there's people out there that do the same thing. But I guess people shave every day. I use razors to shave, so it makes sense. I think it's much like getting your hair done. I've been to a lot of weddings recently, and I think it's much like getting your hair done for a wedding.
Hmm.
You're gonna look awesome when you do it, right? But it's gonna look awesome for a short period of time, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then those skin cells are growing right back, and you have to do it again, and that's your choice. And I don't think you're wrong for doing it repeatedly at a very very surface level. It doesn't seem
Hmm.
like there is any evidence to show that it hurts the skin because you're staying really superficial. And but you got to keep doing that, so that's your choice. And so it is time intensive, it's cost intensive, just like getting your hair and makeup done for a wedding or for the prom or for whatever big event that you have. And so I think that's my stance on it. No harm, no foul. I think if you love it, go for it. If you can afford it or if you have the time, awesome.
Okay. Okay. I obviously like it because I do it once a week. I think the blades are just so made for like sensitive skin that it's really hard to cut yourself. I mean, I'm pretty sure guys cut themselves more just like regular shaving.
Yeah.
But when it's like between 150 $250 for soul size for 2 weeks, and then it says dermaplaning aims to make your skin surface smooth, youthful, and radiant. This treatment claims to remove deep scarring from acne and uneven pockmarks on your skin. It's also used to remove peach fuzz, the short, soft hairs on your face, which like that's pretty obvious. Like, can you remove scarring from like exfoliating that
No,
hard?
no, no.
Okay.
I think it might be promising a little bit more, but I
Yeah.
think what it does well is that you have uh, less of those effects. When you are taking off the top couple layers of cells, you are your scars, your blemishes, the differences in tone, any marks that you have that you're concerned about, they're going to be less prominent because you're getting to the deeper layers where it's going to be newer cells. And I think that is a temporary benefit that the effect it can be real, right? If
Hmm.
you feel that's real and it's not going to take away the scar completely, but if it improves it by 5% and you're happy with that 5%, power to you. Go for it.
Hmm.
But know that you are not doing any long-term benefit for your skin. You are not improving your scar over a long period of time. You're not improving your wrinkles over a long period of time. It is a quick, short-term benefit.
Got it. And do you
Yeah,
think
very bad news, but
and do you think like actually like for guys who shave their face, like does that count as exfoliation or is it different?
that's a good question. I think it counts as exfoliation, but I would say that it's probably more irritating than exfoliating.
Oh, yeah.
It goes when we cut our. I know guys, and this is all for anybody out there who shaves any part of their skin. One blade. If you can use one blade rather than multiple blades on a razor, much better, because that one blade is strong enough, I promise you, to cut your hair. But the multiple blades cuts your hair, cuts it even closer, and then starts cutting the skin.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen or looked very closely. I don't know what a multi-blade razor looks like.
Most conventional
Yeah.
blades are multi blades. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I'll look at
yeah.
mine.
Oh,
Do you exfoliate? Yeah.
I exfoliate. Oh yeah, I exfoliate. I use a lot of glycolic acid. I use a lot of face masks, and I haven't used a physical exfoliator for years now.
Okay. Okay, now I'll close it
Yeah.
out. Please, if you enjoyed the podcast, rate, review, and subscribe on Spotify to make sure you don't miss an episode. Follow us on Instagram at Get Into Your Skin Pod. Send your questions to getintoyourskinpod@gmail.com. And we're also now on YouTube. Thank you. Bye.